TCB's story, I think my own personal kind of commitment to this organization has been about the people that we exist to serve.
What do the community builders mean to me? It means a tremendous set of talents unleashed to help build strong communities in America.
We began actually here in Boston South End, and were actually initially set up in the early 60s by a settlement house to do affordable housing. Our mission has been to bring the resources to creating neighborhoods where people shut out by the private market can thrive. It's about the bricks and mortar. It's about creating a physical environment that really people can be proud to live in. And then it's about the resources that can enable families to be successful. And it's a combination of those two things that are really what community building and what community builders is all about.
Many years ago, 50 years ago, lots of public housing was built throughout the country, basically to house a growing workforce. Over time, the population of these communities moved from being sort of workforce housing, which, you know, post-World War II was the need and the intent, to really being housing for very low-income people.
I've been working in the Broadcreek community since they were originally Bowling Park and Roberts Park public housing, so it's been a long time.
The community of Broadcreek is a microcosm of the kind of neighborhoods that we aspire to be a part of.
In Norfolk, what was happening in the public housing system was the homes were just old. They've been around since the 60s and the 70s.
During the early 80s and late 90s in this community was the drug wars had destroyed the fabric of families here.
Prior to that, Norfolk public housing was home for the working poor. Pat Clancy, many years ago when he started the community builders, came up with this wonderful financial tool, this way of doing things and building communities, where at one time there's only one way to do it. What he found was if he brought all the key tools to the table, if he brought tax credits and investors and public housing to the table, that you could create something outside of the box. The mixed income concept for Broadcreek, for Norfolk, was you replace a public housing with another public housing, but you also include in that tax credits and market rate and home ownership to change the community. People need to see other examples. So if everyone around me is low income and everyone around me is a certain way, that's all I know. And we weren't going to do that. That's not what Norfolk wanted to do. That's not what the Housing Authority wanted to do, and that's definitely not what TCB does.
All of the planning around how many units we would rebuild and what levels of affordability they would have was very focused in a way that it was not always true elsewhere on that population and, to the extent possible, meeting their needs while also introducing moderate income and market rate rental housing to the mix.
Broadcreek is fits really very well in the spirit and the substance of what TCP is trying to do.
This is the gateway to downtown Norfolk. And as you come across this bridge, what you used to see prior to the Hope 6 was you would see this dark brick, blighted housing project. And now when you go into the gateway of Norfolk, this is what you see. You see Broadcreek. We've truly changed the landscape of the community. So now we're at Broadcreek, and this is Broadcreek housing, the community builders, mixed income community, no longer public housing, but mixed income housing.
Just as many other people who were visiting the homes and visiting the community, they thought, wow, you know, this place is beautiful, but how is it going to work where you have a $300,000 house on one side of the street, and then across the street you have rentals?
I remember people telling me that You have high and lofty goals, but it'll never happen. You'll never be able to integrate this community with white, black, Asian folk, and you'll never sell a home over here over $200,000. Well, to date, we have black, Asian doctors, lawyers, engineers living in this community, and we are selling homes over $600,000. And so it does work.
Community doesn't just start at your door. Community is your house, your block, your neighborhood, your city. And this mixed income concept expands on that. And so we have changed an entire city by changing 300 units.
Because the goal was to impact the families in this community. And if we were going to truly do that, we had to understand the social makeup of this community to make that happen.
For us, that means if there's a situation where the neighborhood has a lot of challenges, it may have a history of crime, or it may have not the best school, how are we going to engage a sense of community among neighbors that builds strength?
We, I think, see a role as a houser in being at the center of how those resources come together and are sustained. But that's really a catalytic role, and it's the families in these communities, it's the partners that we make in each community that will be a key to the long-term success.
We all know that education starts at home, so we're trying to build this extension, this relationship between the classroom and the household.
Education leads to self-sufficiency. Education will move you out of poverty. As a corporation, we don't have a lot of influence, but one of the things that we do in Broadcreek to affect some type of change is we have a before and after school program, which is a supplement to education. We have leadership programs and Girl Scout programs and Boy Scouts. Sex education, and if it's out there, we have it. We just have so much for our youth in Broadcreek.
My name is Wilmina. I have two children. Sajin, she will turn 10 actually, and my son Caleb, he's 5. I came to Broadcreek after I was getting out of an abusive relationship, and I was living in a shelter. My schedule at the pharmacy is so unpredictable. Sometimes it can be from 8 to 4, sometimes it's 11 to 7, sometimes it's 1 to 9. But whenever I have that free morning or that free evening, that's when I study. I've been going back to school, and also I'm seeing myself, I pray that I get this, but I'm seeing myself helping pregnant mothers. That's why I want to become a sonography specialist, because not only I can make decent money there, but also when the time comes, I will be able to go overseas, other countries, and help mothers.
Call me if you need me. Okay. Hey, shut the door. Akia Sweat, I'm 33, and I live in Broadcreek, and I have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl.
My name is Cortez Sweat. I'm going to Booker T High School. I'm in 9th grade. I'm 15.
The Housing Authority has a GED program, and they provide transportation. At the time, Ms. Sweat didn't have transportation, so it was just perfect.
She then told me that they were going to start up classes at the community center for GED. And did I want to do it? And I said, yeah, but I really didn't. I didn't feel like doing it. I was constantly working, and she would call me or send me a flyer or tell Cortez to give me a message, and I would just never really return her phone calls. When I lost my job,
I really felt down. I really felt like I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to lose my place. She helped me so much. She found jobs that I could apply to. I didn't have transportation. She would take me to these interviews. She would help me as much as possible. She helped me do a resume. She just helped me so much. And when I was able to find a job, it was more like a trust issue. I was able to trust her with things that I confided in that I knew no one else knew.
It's very difficult when you have family, you have children, very difficult to come out from under that and be able to afford a market rate unit, which is why having affordable housing is so important to families. So we're always tapping residents into these kind of programs, looking at improving the income level of our residents through education, employment.
And we were trying to find ways of using technology to provide ways for individuals to take advantage of the technology to move into the economic mainstream.
I am honored to be here today on the site of Broadcreek, seeing something come about that we have talked about for a very long time, and that's the integration of broadband technology into this wonderful community.
It's important to network. It's important to establish relationships with your local organizations. They have funding streams. They have goals. They have outcome measures. They need people. We have the people.
Chauncey Johnson. I've lived in Broadcreek for probably about 4 years now. So I am the first CTA for Norfolk, but I'm told it's on the first one on the East Coast. The benefits of being wireless is that you can connect anywhere. You're not limited to where your cords will lead you. My basic job here is to make sure everybody is aware of the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi in the neighborhood, and to make sure that they're able to connect.
If you're really talking about sustaining communities, it's not about the bricks. It really is about the people. Any of us couldn't live in the brick. Somebody else can live inside the brick. But ultimately, when you get down to it, it's about neighbors being neighbors, about trying to make sure that families have an opportunity and live in a community that's going to support their uplift, not put a cap on their ability to rise.
The leadership of people like Gladys in a community, the combination with residents in that community, and the success of individual families, individual residents, as we create an environment that provides support for them. That momentum is the basis upon which we can continue to attract resources, is the basis upon which we can bring in other partners to support the families in these communities and enable a sustained investment to really be achievable.
One of the real opportunities that we see is that we are where the families are for a lot of their hours of the week. If we can take advantage of the incredible hearts and talents of the people that we have already there and engage the sense of community, we've got a lot of power we can unleash. We're asking everybody who works for the community builders to engage in a human way with the people in the communities.
Basically, we go to church every Sunday morning at 10. It was just good to sit, and listen to the word and listen to the choir because it's very inspirational. It caught me off guard when the pastor was just talking about how he feels that
my family is going places. And the Lord wants us to move, not stand still. And he even said that Cortez will be going to college and he will have a scholarship, just to keep him focused, keep him encouraged, keep him in church, and he'll be what he want to be.
How about that? Where are you? I'm really excited about what's await ahead for us. If I'm not a doctor, if I'm not a lawyer, if I'm not, the CEO of a company, if I'm not all that in the world like a public figure, maybe my purpose is to raise one. And I felt that so deep in my soul. If I'm not all that, but I'm raising one. And I believe it. Because I see goodness in my kids.
It all happens because someone tore down an ugly building. Someone tore down blocks and blocks of old, isolated, dilapidated buildings. It's made a difference. It's happening because we have community meetings that empower parents to go to schools and talk to principals and make demands and say just getting by is not enough. The streets are brighter, the sky is bluer. All because, the housing authority said, we need a Hope 6 and we need to get rid of this and we need to do this differently. And how can we do it differently? They could have just replaced what was there with some modern square blocked buildings, but that's not what they did. They partnered with TCB, and that's not what TCB does. And they created this beautiful townhouse community with trees and gardens and flowers. And I'm telling you, when I say it, the sky is bluer in that area now because we don't have the dark, dated, one-way streets weaving through isolated, tucked back off the main road community anymore. The residents feel it, I feel it, I know it. It changes. It changes how you're raised. It changes how you think when you walk out your door and what you see. And if that's the only change we make, then we've made a difference. But we are making more than that. And it's rippling effects. We're affecting the parents, we're affecting the children, and we're going to affect their children. And we'll be dead and gone, and we won't even know it. But you know what? Just your address alone is going to make a difference of what happens 2-3 generations from now.
I've been counting stars instead of counting sheep. It keeps me awake when I need to be asleep. Maybe if you were here with me, I wouldn't be so cold. This business of you being gone, well, it's getting pretty old. Say, won't you